Good morning, and welcome to today's worship service. We are grateful you are here with us today. My name is Jeremy Dambach, and I'm the service coordinator for today here at All Souls Church, where our mission is to seek truth, practice love, and celebrate life. Whether you're joining us for the first time or you've been a member for a long time, you are welcome here. Whatever faiths you have known or not known, or whatever your heritage, you are welcome here. Whatever questions you hold, whatever truths you seek, whatever sorrow you have known, whatever joy has filled your heart, whoever you are and whomever you love, you are welcome here. And now for a few announcements. I call everyone's attention to the notice of next Sunday's program at the bottom of the order of service and urge you to continue to read our weekly email blasts for dates and details of additional upcoming events and opportunities. If you're not receiving the weekly emails, please sign up for them on the clipboard in the foyer before leaving. And I invite you to stay for conversation, coffee, and a circle discussion after today's service. Does anyone else have additional announcements that are not in the order of service? Liz.
Good morning. I'm Liz, and couple of things. A reminder that we have sent out the holiday appeal letter. So if anyone's got that and wants to leave a check today, that'd be awesome. And then we're also handing out, Alan's doing that right now, walkthrough list of possible projects that we could be doing in the church. And we'd like your feedback on 3 of them if we could, if you've got a priority. Perhaps to find some consensus on what we should do next. So if you could fill that out, and leave that here today, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. Any other announcements? All right, we'll move on to the prelude. Now we will light the chalice. It's number 442 in the gray hymnal. It does have italics, but I'm just going to read it since it's the chalice lighting. We bid you welcome. We bid you welcome, who come with weary spirit seeking rest, who come with troubles that are too much with you, who come hurt and afraid. We bid you welcome, who come with hope in your heart, who come with anticipation in your step, who come proud and joyous. We bid you welcome, who are seekers of a new faith, who come to probe and explore, who come to learn. We bid you welcome, who enter this hall as a homecoming, who have found here room for your spirit, who find in this people a family. Whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are on your journey, we bid you welcome. And now for the opening song, number 21 in the gray hymnal, For the Beauty of the Earth. And now for our first reading, we'll turn to number 468. This one has italics, so I would ask you to respond with the italics. We need one another. We need one another when we mourn and would be comforted. We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again. We need one another in the hour of success when we look for someone to share our triumphs. We need one another when we come to die and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey. All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us. Now I invite kids to come down for the story we're all reading. How about now? The Rock from the Sky by John Klassen. We're just going to read the first part. Part 1, The Rock. I like standing in this spot. It is my favorite spot to stand. I don't ever want to stand anywhere else. A picture of a rock. Hello. Hello. What are you doing? I'm standing in my favorite spot. Come, stand in it with me. Okay. What do you think of my spot? Actually, I have a bad feeling about it. A bad feeling? Yes. There's another spot over there. Do you see it? Yes, I see it. I will go and stand in it to see if it feels better than this spot. How does that spot feel? I can't hear you. You are too far away. I'm going to come back. The rock still falling. Does this spot still feel bad? Yes, it feels even worse than before. I am going back to the other spot. Do you want to come with me? No, I will stay here. This is my favorite spot. Are you sure? Yes. Oh, hello. I am standing in this spot by myself. Come, stand in it with me. My spot is better. You're too far away to hear. I am coming closer. We still cannot hear you. I said my spot is better. And then the rock landed where he was standing. That's all. Now we'll sing the children out. In this congregation, we have found it helpful to share the ups and downs of our lives by the practice of taking a stone from a bowl, holding it in our hand, warming it, and expressing our thoughts of joy and or concern, and then placing the stone in the water so that it ripples, so that the ripples of the water carry our joys and concerns out into the wider world. I'll begin by taking a stone to express I travel quite a lot for work on airplanes and trains and. Sorry, I travel quite a lot for work on airplanes and trains and by car, and I do not like flying. I never did, and when I first started traveling for work, it was a very bad experience. I had a lot of anxiety, hated it. I've been traveling consistently by plane for the last 6 years now. And I went to California this week and came back. I was just kind of remarking after that trip how little anxiety I felt and how much progress I've made kind of in that journey. So I'll throw this rock in and then invite anybody else to come up and share their joys and concerns.
I like to share my thoughts and prayers for a lot of people back at Helping Hands and hope that they will find peace and solace and all that good stuff for their lives and all that. And I also have thoughts and prayers for Patrick Sogling and hope that he's going to find a kidney pretty soon and hope that he will do well in progress. And so, thank you.
My name is Alan, and I guess I have a bit of a something which makes me a good bass this day. I appreciate your continued thoughts and positive energy for Janine, my wife. She's had this bad infection, a lung infection for a couple of weeks, and now they say there's a touch of pneumonia, so she's at Sanford at this time. And on a brighter note, our favorite basketball team in South Dakota, Lyman County Raiders, are now rated number 1 in the Class B. They're undefeated. Yesterday, they beat Mobridge by 3 points, and I think that's a much bigger school. So the Scott girls are doing well.
My name is Susan, and I just wanted to share some joys. As of Friday, I got a job offer, and it's at a daycare, so I'll be able to take this little one with me. And then I have my application in for an apartment so that hopefully I can get out of the shelter we've been staying in soon. I also would like to add that I'm very happy to see the rock that I brought when my grandmother passed still in the bowl and being used. So I will be placing that one.
I'm AJ. My sister just got an apartment, so I might be able to go live with her, and then I'll be out of foster care. Pretty dope. I'll be able to see my brother a bunch. So.
I just want to share my concerns about what's going on in the Twin Cities. I lived there for 15 years, and I've got a lot of friends there. And I've got this friend, Dave, who I went to college with, who lives in St. Paul. And he reported a couple of days ago that ICE agents are just going door to door in his neighborhood demanding to get inside every house. And his little 7-year-old daughter came home from school and said her best friend's aunt had just disappeared, and don't know where she is and haven't heard from her in a couple of days. So personally it's disturbing, and it's also disturbing that, I think a lot of us take for granted what we have in this country, freedom of speech and freedom of religion, and at least I sense that things like that are on the line, so I'm very concerned.
All right, and I will put in one final stone, symbolizing all of our joys and concerns that are left unsaid. Now we'll take a moment for silent reflection. Our second reading is number 501. spirit of community in which we share and find strength and common purpose, we turn our minds and hearts towards one another, seeking to bring into our circle of concern all who need our love and support, those who are ill, those who are in pain, either in body or in spirit, those who are lonely, those who have been wronged. We are part of a web of life that makes us one with all humanity, one with all the universe. We are grateful for the miracle of consciousness that we share, the consciousness that gives us the power to remember, to love, to care. And now the second song, number 18, What Wondrous Love. Now I'd like to introduce John Beringer for the message today, The Journey Through Leukemia.
Hello, good morning. Thanks for Jeremy introduction. I'm really nervous. As he mentioned, I'm John Beringer. My wife is in back. Her name is Deb. She's the reason we're here today. We're here to pass along some information about leukemia and some of our thoughts and observations. We're both retired here in Sioux Falls, and both our kids and grandchildren live here too. But none of us grew up here. We just all ended up here by chance. We both try to wear masks as much as possible. Deb is in the full recovery stage of leukemia right now, but she still has a compromised immunity system. So we try to prevent exposure to things like flu, colds, etc. And I'll explain about the immunity system later. So as some of you know who know me, I'm the type of person who can sit down with anyone, anytime, anywhere, and carry on a meaningful conversation. But I hate doing this. So, but my good friend Dan in back that you all know, who I kind of view as my brother Dan, would do anything for me. So there's no way I could say no to him. And I also kind of feel a kindred spirit to All Souls. When we moved to town 10 years ago, we visited here a few times. We were visiting other churches, and we just didn't church up at the time. But we ended up at Spirit of Peace, and so I kind of feel like we're kindred spirits. You're on this end of cliff, and we're way at the other end of cliff. So, and I was working with Dan. I was writing down, and I apologize. I'm going to miss some people. I know Alan, JC, Peter, Jeremy. Jenny, Edie, Mike, Gina, Steve, and I made friends with Liz. So kind of feel a kindred spirits with all of you. Here's a disclaimer. Out of nervousness, I often ad-lib a story or a comment. And every once in a while, it's relevant or humorous. But as my wife can tell you, they often fall flat or I even unintentionally offend someone. So if I do an inadvertent ad lib and I offend you, I apologize in advance. It was 1 year ago, this coming Wednesday, that Dan and I and some of my family were up at Augustana watching the Twins winter caravan. Are any Twins fans here? And Deb was going to come, but she had a bad sore throat and just wasn't feeling well. So she said we should all go. And I thought about not going, and about halfway through the program, I just didn't feel right. And I called Deb at home to check on her, and she was kind of babbling and fragmented sentences. And I told Dan we need to go, and he went like that. And I mean, Dan does not hesitate. And we got home, and Deb was not doing well. So Dan and I carried her out to the car and went to ER. She had a horrible throat, was incoherent. And the next day, Deb was diagnosed with leukemia. I knew nothing about leukemia other than I'd maybe seen a couple commercials on TV, kids raise money for leukemia. That's all I knew. So that started our year-long journey that brought us here today. I do have a couple printouts if anyone wants the information from this afterwards. So I want to see if this works. Thanks to JC for her help. So I kind of broken it into two parts. The first one is the medical aspects of leukemia, including some of the new advances. We bring you hope with leukemia and a lot of other cancers. They are making revolutionary strides. Some of Deb's treatments wasn't available 2 years ago. And the second part, this is kind of a joke. It's the personal, spiritual, emotional, family, friends, financial, psychosocial aspect of leukemia, which I always viewed Deb's treatment as two parts, the medical part and then everything else that goes along with it. We are using Deb's story here today, but this is her journey from her lens. It's my journey from my lens. And it's the most important thing to you when you're going through it. But it's also the journey of family, friends, support groups, spiritual community, doctors, nurses, the entire team. And we do recognize that many people have it worse and some have it better. You're just kind of dealt the hand that you're dealt. Okay, so. And I was talking about there's many others. This was the Sioux Falls Leukemia Walk last year, and this was a handful of the leukemia survivors. And you can see there's young ones up front and there's older ones, and Deb's kind of in the middle. We'll get into her age a little later. But those are all current survivors. Disclaimer, this is not medical advice. I got a C in high school biology. That ended my science career. It's very general. There's lots of cancers and lots of treatments out there. And again, this is through my lens, and there's many different lenses. So here's part one, the medical aspects of leukemia. Defining some terms. This, if you know all this, I apologize, but it was all new to me. Leukemia, it's one of many blood cancers. Leukemia is specifically a flaw or a genetic defect in the bone marrow. And what that does is it produces too many white blood cells that crowd out all the other healthy cells. We had heard the terms oncologist and hematologist. An oncologist is basically a cancer doctor, and they mostly focus in solid tumors. A hematologist, that's who's treating Deb. They treat cancers focusing on all the various blood disorders. And I didn't know what the Prairie Center was, but it's one of the big, beautiful buildings as you drive by. It's got the waterfall in front of it. And there's some other programs in there, but it's mostly the Avera Cancer Institute on the main campus where they treat cancer. So what causes leukemia? I mentioned that. It's generic variations of the chromosomes. And this is where it got really complicated. There's different types of leukemia. Deb has AML, which I could not pronounce. Can anyone pronounce that? Deb? AML? We're both drawing a blank. It's a long medical term. But within AML, they have NMP1. These are the generic variations, FLT3, IDH. Deb happens to have the FLT3. You may have heard about a Kennedy granddaughter that died a month ago. She had something called inversion 7, which I guess is really bad. Deb's version, FLT3, is not the worst, but it's an aggressive type. The old treatment was described as non-selective. By old treatment, I mean the old chemotherapies. I heard an analogy. Basically, they poured poison into your body. Hopefully it killed leukemia, but it killed a lot of good and healthy cells. And that's where people got violently ill. Now they have targeted medicines for each specific variation. So with Deb's FLT3, there's a new drug called Zospada. So anyone want to spell that? It took me about 6 months. It starts with an X. Okay, so real briefly, the treatment for Deb was a stem cell bone marrow, and those two terms are used interchangeably by the public. But they give you a stem cell transplant, and the stem cells are actually made in your bone marrow. So the first step, they use chemo drugs to kill basically your bad bone marrow. The bone marrow in Deb got a genetic defect and started producing bad cells. So they give her a regimen of 5 days of targeted chemotherapy, which kills her bone marrow. Then they transplant stem cells from a donor's bone marrow to replace yours. And hopefully, if the stem cells grab onto your body, it's called engraftment. So that's the actual stem cells that was put into Deb. And we know that came from a donor in England, a 20-something female nurse. And what they have to do is they take a swab of Deb's cheek and they do all this DNA protein type stuff, and they look for a match, and there's 10 parameters they use. And they search a worldwide database. And with Deb, they found a nurse in England who had a perfect 10 by 10 match. And that's kind of the gold standard. So to collect it, this is just a stock photo. We don't know this person. It's much like giving blood. This gal in England sat down, and the machine at the left is called an apheresis collection. And what they do is they pull the blood out of the person. It goes through that machine. They strip out the stem cells, and then they put the rest of the platelets and everything else back into the donor. And then it's collected in that bag. Now, here's a job if you want it. There are people who they put this in a cooler, and you hop on a commercial jet, and you fly back and forth across the ocean, delivering a bag of blood. And I think they can freeze it, but they like to have it fresh, so I think they shoot for 3 days. This is another photo that upsets me, and I'm not sure why, but this is Deb's transplant. I thought transplant, you go in the operating room and there's lights and all this. This is just done in an ordinary, she's admitted a hospital bed, and you can see Deb laying there. Right there. That's one of the hematologists at Avera, Dr. Shrishti Banskota. She's from Nepal, but she's trained at all the advanced, University of Nebraska Medical Center in hematology. Behind her is the transplant nurse coordinator. And then there's 2 nurses there that are setting up the blood transfusion. And really, it's not blood, it's T cells mixed with a little blood. But so the doctor comes in and says, let's go. And then 20 minutes later, you're done. That's it. So engraftment, I'm sorry that's kind of small print, but a definition of a stem cell transplant for leukemia. Engraftment is the process where the new stems, this is a miracle, they travel through your body and somehow they find your way to your blood, your bone marrow, where hopefully it settles and produces new healthy blood cells, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. This seems like an innocent statement, but a typical engraftment takes 14 days. So every day you sit there and they take not yours, Deb's, but the patient's blood labs every day and look to see if you are producing red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. And I talked to Deb about this. We didn't sit there and worry about it, but it's always in the back of your mind. Is this going to grab on? Is this going to grab on? And fortunately, with the modern medicine, the 10-point match, all the supportive medications, Deb got engraftment after 12 days. So Deb is 71. Don't tell anyone. It's a secret. The doctor said they don't like doing these type of transplants on people over 65 because they're sometimes not successful and sometimes the patient does well. But Deb is one of those. The doctor said she's in physical health. She had emotional, spiritual, family, friend support, and a good, healthy body, and it just grabbed on. So although Deb was diagnosed in January, they have to get you stable and find the donor and all that. So she actually had her transplant on May 14th. And at the cancer center, they say that's your new birthday. After that, so when Deb had her chemo that wiped out her bone marrow, all of your baby shots, all of the immunities you've earned over the year are destroyed. So basically your immunity system is gone. And it takes 6 to 24 months to build your immune system. In the meantime, that's why we're wearing masks. You can't get the cold or COVID or anything else. So Deb is currently in the process of getting all her baby shots. 2 weeks ago, over a 7-8 day period, she got, 8 baby shots? And then for the next 12 months, they spread them out. And the final one is the measles at 24 months. Again, maybe someone else. It's a live virus, and you can't do that right away. The others are not live viruses, but the measles is. So in the meantime, Deb is getting regular bone marrow biopsies from your hip. And if you feel the small bone in your back right here, every few months they put Deb to sleep just for a few minutes. It's like a colonoscopy. I don't think the procedure lasts 20 minutes. And then they drill a bore needle in. And Deb says that she's sore, but it's not awful. She's tougher than I am. I would be saying it's awful. But they look for signs of reoccurring leukemia cells to see if they have to intervene with other treatments. But so far, Deb hasn't had any. And Deb is definitely an outlier for someone who's 71. And then Deb's wearing a cap. You do lose your hair at the time of chemo with this treatment. She's growing back her hair, but it usually takes about 12 to 18 months. People often ask about that. So the nurse let me shoot this. This was after one of Deb's biopsies. She has them every several months. The picture on the left is actually the bone marrow out of her hip. And the nurse described it as kind of a gooey, thick blood. And then the slide on the right is a sliver of bone. And they send those off. Some of the testing they do here, some they send off to mail. And then you sit around for a week or two, and we look online. We're not supposed to, but we do. And they didn't say you shouldn't, but you know, if there was negative news, they'd like to be there. But we look, and they're always positive. And so this next part, I'm just going to touch on this. If you ever go through this, and I'm sure some of you have, your head is just constantly spinning about family and friends and your spirituality and life after death. And so we can spend about 12 hours discussing that part if you want to, and I don't think that would cover it. But a couple things I do want to mention. Family support is really important, and this is Deb with our two grandchildren at the Leukemia Walk. And you really, if you go through this, need to have support. You need to have family, friends, spiritual community. So this is another example. When we got home after they discharged Deb from the hospital, you can see her up there on our porch wearing a mask, and some friends did a quilt. The people in the far back are family. And then in the middle and to the right are friends and church members from Spirit of Peace. And some big guy came by, wanted a cookie and photobombed. We told him to leave, and he wouldn't leave. And so this I debated on including, and this has to do with my Catholic upbringing, and we talk about this a lot. When you up at the Prairie Center, there's this little sign that says, "Here a card, take one," and that's what's in it. It's on the right, and it's talking about Christ's love. And they have volunteers that write the most wonderful, thoughtful, caring card that they're praying, and they're praying that God intercedes, and which brings up the tricky topic of prayers of an intercession. And this is coming from my Catholic background, but some people believe that praying for someone, known as an intercessory prayer, and I was taught to believe this, can lead to God interceding and provide healing. And I don't know if anyone wants to take that subject on. But I always wondered, I had a brother, and we prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed, and he eventually died, and my dad thought we were praying wrong or not enough. And so I've always wondered, how does God, if there is a God, pick winners or losers? And maybe we can discuss that afterwards. That's something I think we all struggle with, or many of us. So that's kind of a 12-hour subject in a 10-minute, 15-minute nutshell. So thank you. You're wonderful hosts, and we'll talk later.
And thanks again, John, for that wonderful message. Now it is time to accept the offering. And half of today's plate is going to go to support Feeding South Dakota. We'll now recite the words to receive the offering. We give these gifts freely. We receive these gifts gratefully. We dedicate these gifts to the work of our congregation, serving human wholeness, caring for our planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, and loving one another. Because John did such a great job keeping to time with that, we have enough time for the third song and reading. So please turn to 292 in the gray hymnal, If I Can Stop One Heart from Breaking. And the final reading, number 698. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, The path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Now we will extinguish the chalice. The chalice is extinguished, but the light goes with us out into the world.
This is one of the songs that JC and I have enjoyed playing because it takes two people and it takes cooperation in a different way, kind of like what John was saying in terms of family and doctors and us and others. We give ourselves to the help of others, but we also need to provide our own best efforts. And it's that sharing. Well, this particular music, and JC can hold it up so you can see it, is written supposedly by Mozart, but it could be by his sister. And it's called The Mirror. And Carol wanted us to play The Mirror because it's a very different kind of mirror than the nice quiet one that was played at the beginning of the service. So this is going to be a rather raucous one. But what is special about this is that she's going to lay this piece of music flat on the stand, and I'm going to read it from the opposite side going top to bottom, and she's going to read the same sheet of music the other direction from the top to the bottom. How would you possibly compose music that could be literally played top to bottom on both sides of the same sheet? Anyway, that's why it's called The Mirror, and it is special, and so we hope you'll enjoy it too. Boring in a hurry.